Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so excited to be talking about something that fascinates me endlessly, the hidden science nestled within ancient myths. We often think of myths as just stories, entertaining tales from a time long ago, but I believe there's much more to them than that. These stories, passed down through generations, may actually contain echoes of scientific observations, coded knowledge, and even attempts to understand the world around us using the tools they had. They weren't scientists in lab coats, but they were observers, thinkers, and innovators, using narrative to preserve their discoveries. Let's delve into this hidden world together and see what secrets we can uncover. Let's start with astronomy. Many myths are deeply interwoven with the movement of celestial bodies. Think about constellations. Cultures across the globe created stories about them, often associating them with heroes, animals, or gods. These stories weren't just for fun. They served as mnemonic devices, helping people remember the patterns of the stars and use them for navigation, agriculture, and timekeeping. The rising of a specific star might signal the start of the planting season, for example. By embedding this information in a memorable myth, they ensured it was passed down accurately for generations. It's like a cosmic instruction manual disguised as a bedtime story. Take the Egyptian myth of Ra, the sun god, sailing across the sky in his boat each day, then battling through the underworld at night. This isn't just a pretty picture. It's a symbolic representation of the sun's daily journey across the sky and its apparent disappearance during the night. The battles Ra faces in the underworld could symbolize the challenges of predicting eclipses or understanding the movements of other celestial objects. The ancient Egyptians were meticulous astronomers, and their myths likely reflect their profound understanding of the cosmos. So next time you hear a story about a sun god, remember there might be some real astronomy hidden within. Now, let's shift our focus to the myth of Icarus. He famously flew too close to the sun, melting the wax on his wings, causing him to fall into the sea. While often interpreted as a moral lesson about hubris, could it also be a cautionary tale about the dangers of extreme temperatures? The story highlights the properties of wax and its vulnerability to heat. Perhaps it's a symbolic warning against pushing technological limits without fully understanding the consequences. It's a great reminder to consider the practical implications behind even the most fantastical stories. Consider the Greek myth of Pandora's box. While often seen as a story about the origin of evil and suffering, it might also be interpreted as a metaphor for the unpredictable consequences of scientific exploration or technological advancement. Once the box is opened, negative things flood the world, things which are hard to return from. Pandora's box represents the unknown and the unpredictable impact of delving into it. The act of opening the box might symbolize humanity's tendency to push boundaries, sometimes without fully grasping the potential ramifications. The creation myths of various cultures often contain elements that seem to reflect early understandings of geology. The idea of the Earth emerging from chaos, or being formed from the body of a primordial being, could be interpreted as a symbolic representation of the Earth's formation through volcanic activity, tectonic shifts, and other geological processes. These stories might be early attempts to explain the physical landscape and its origins, using metaphors and narratives that were understandable to the people of the time. Think about flood myths, common in many cultures around the world. While these stories often carry religious or moral significance, they could also be linked to actual historical flood events. Rising sea levels, tsunamis, or river flooding could have devastated communities, leaving a lasting impression that was then passed down through generations in the form of a myth. The story of Noah's Ark, for example, might be rooted in a real flood event in the ancient Middle East. These myths could serve as warnings, reminding people of the power of nature and the importance of preparing for disasters. Alchemy, the precursor to modern chemistry, was deeply intertwined with mythology. Alchemists often used symbolic language and mythological figures to represent chemical substances and processes. The philosopher's stone, a legendary substance believed to be capable of transmuting base metals into gold, was a central goal of alchemists. The process of seeking the philosopher's stone can be seen as a metaphor for spiritual transformation and the pursuit of ultimate knowledge. Alchemy's history is filled with figures who blurred the lines between science, magic, and myth. Many myths feature powerful animals with extraordinary abilities. These animals may represent a symbolic understanding of the natural world and the characteristics of different species. For example, the eagle, often associated with gods and rulers, might symbolize strength, vision, and power. The serpent, often associated with healing and transformation, could represent the cyclical nature of life and death. Animals and myths aren't just characters. They often embody essential qualities and principles. Now let's consider the myth of Arachne, a skilled weaver who challenged the goddess Athena to a weaving contest and lost, ultimately being transformed into a spider. This myth, beyond its moral implications, highlights the importance of craftsmanship and skill. Weaving, in ancient times, was a crucial technology. Arachne's skill may represent the ingenuity and artistry of ancient artisans, and the story underscores the value placed on these skills within society. The story can remind us of human innovation through the ages. Plants and herbs play significant roles in many myths, often possessing magical or medicinal properties. Consider the myths surrounding herbs like mandrake, which was believed to have powerful healing abilities but was also associated with danger. Ancient people were intimately familiar with the properties of plants, using them for medicine, food, and rituals. Myths about plants may reflect this knowledge and the importance of understanding the natural world. The stories surrounding these plants remind us about the careful balance of nature. The legend of Atlantis, a technologically advanced island civilization that was said to have sunk into the ocean, has captivated imaginations for centuries. While its existence remains unproven, the myth of Atlantis might reflect anxieties about technological hubris and the potential consequences of unchecked progress. It could serve as a cautionary tale about the importance of environmental stewardship and the fragility of civilizations. It's a powerful reminder that even the most advanced societies can be vulnerable. Let's explore the concept of sacred geometry, which posits that certain geometric shapes and proportions hold universal significance and are reflected in the natural world and architecture. Many ancient cultures incorporated sacred geometry into their temples, pyramids, and other structures. The golden ratio, for example, is found in the proportions of the Parthenon and other ancient buildings, as well as in natural phenomena like the spiral patterns of seashells. This suggests a deep understanding of mathematical principles and their connection to the cosmos. Myths about heroes often involve quests for immortality or the acquisition of powerful artifacts. These quests might be seen as symbolic representations of humanity's desire to overcome mortality and achieve lasting legacy. The pursuit of immortality could reflect a longing to leave a lasting impact on the world, to transcend the limitations of our physical existence. Even if immortality is not actually achievable, the desire for it is a strong force behind innovation. The symbolism of colors is prevalent in myths across cultures. Certain colors are often associated with specific emotions, concepts, or deities. Red, for example, might symbolize passion, courage, or war, while blue might represent peace, serenity, or the heavens. Understanding the symbolic meaning of colors can provide deeper insights into the underlying themes and messages of myths. Consider the cultural use of color next time you're viewing art and see if it speaks to you. Now, how about a little bit of sound? Many myths include stories about the power of music and sound to heal, inspire, or control the natural world. Orpheus, the legendary musician of Greek mythology, was said to be able to charm animals and even move stones with his lyre. This belief in the power of sound might reflect an understanding of the principles of acoustics and the ability of sound waves to affect physical objects and emotions. The idea of reincarnation or cyclical time is found in many ancient belief systems. Myths often depict the world as going through cycles of creation, destruction, and renewal. This cyclical worldview might reflect an understanding of natural cycles, such as the seasons, the life cycle of plants and animals, and the movement of celestial bodies. It reminds us that everything is interconnected and constantly changing. Let's not forget the importance of storytelling itself. Myths were not just entertaining tales. They were also powerful tools for transmitting knowledge, values, and cultural identity across generations. By embedding important lessons and information within memorable narratives, ancient people ensured that their knowledge would be preserved and passed down to future generations. It's like a time capsule filled with wisdom, disguised as a bedtime story. Think about the concept of the axis mundi, or the world axis, a symbolic center of the world that connects the earth with the heavens. In many cultures, this axis is represented by a mountain, a tree, or a pole. The axis mundi symbolizes the connection between the physical and spiritual realms and the importance of maintaining balance and harmony in the universe. It's a reminder that we are all part of something larger than ourselves. Mythical creatures like dragons, griffins, and unicorns often embody a combination of different animal characteristics, representing a fusion of different qualities and powers. These creatures might be symbolic representations of the unknown and the potential for transformation and transcendence. They challenge our imagination and invite us to explore the boundaries of what is possible. So next time you see a mythical beast, remember it might be teaching you something. The concept of fate and free will is a recurring theme in many myths. Some myths emphasize the idea that our lives are predetermined by fate, while others highlight the importance of individual choices and actions. This tension between fate and free will reflects a fundamental question about human existence and the extent to which we have control over our own destinies. It makes for a great and interesting debate. If you're enjoying this exploration of the hidden science in ancient myths, please give this a like. It really helps share this intriguing topic with others. The ancient Greeks were fascinated by the concept of the elements: earth, air, fire, and water. These elements were not just seen as physical substances, but also as fundamental principles that govern the universe. Myths often depict these elements as personified deities or forces that interact with each other to create and shape the world. This elemental understanding laid the groundwork for early scientific thought. The idea of the underworld, a realm of the dead, is present in many cultures. Myths about journeys to the underworld often involve trials, challenges, and encounters with supernatural beings. These stories might be symbolic representations of the human experience of facing mortality, confronting our fears, and overcoming obstacles. It shows how humanity views death and the passage into another world. The stories of heroes often involve a journey of self-discovery and transformation. These journeys typically involve facing challenges, overcoming obstacles, and ultimately returning home with new knowledge and wisdom. These heroic journeys can be seen as metaphors for the human journey of growth, learning, and self-realization. Are there myths that changed your perspective in this way? Let us know in the comments below. Many myths incorporate numerical symbolism, where certain numbers are associated with specific meanings or concepts. For example, the number 3 might represent completeness, harmony, or the Trinity, while the number 7 might symbolize perfection or wholeness. Understanding the symbolic meaning of numbers can unlock deeper layers of meaning in myths. Myths about the origins of language often depict the creation of language as a divine gift or a result of human ingenuity. These stories highlight the importance of language as a tool for communication, knowledge, and cultural transmission. The power of language is something all human cultures understand, and these stories reflect it. The concept of a golden age, a time of peace, prosperity, and harmony, is found in many cultures. Myths about the Golden Age often depict a time when humans lived in close connection with nature and enjoyed a life free from suffering and hardship. These stories might reflect a longing for a simpler, more harmonious way of life. Let's consider the importance of trickster figures in mythology. These characters, often animals or deities, are known for their cunning, mischievousness, and ability to disrupt the status quo. Tricksters can be seen as agents of change, challenging conventions, and prompting us to question our assumptions. They remind us that sometimes it takes a bit of chaos to bring about progress. If you're looking for more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with future explorations into the world of myth and science. Myths about the end of the world, or apocalyptic narratives, are common in many cultures. These stories often depict a cataclysmic event that brings about the destruction of the world, followed by a period of renewal or rebirth. Apocalyptic myths might reflect anxieties about the fragility of our planet and the potential consequences of human actions. So, as we've seen, ancient myths are much more than just stories. They are rich repositories of knowledge, observation, and insight into the world around us. By examining these stories through a scientific lens, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the ingenuity and wisdom of our ancestors. The next time you encounter a myth, I encourage you to look beyond the surface and consider the hidden science that might be lurking beneath. Be curious. Think oddly.